I'm sure Haibane on jailbait is definitely.
I'm like,
And some English translated the game. Oh, of course, you gotta be done with everything. Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Before we get started, I need to say something to Sue here.
And what would that be?
Your takedown of Munto at the end of the last panel just now was unfair.
Brendan, we gotta roll with this panel. You're really gonna start this now?
You've deliberately misrepresented several parts of that OVA to make it appear worse than it actually is.
So, let me get it straight. You're not telling me you actually enjoyed Munto, are you?
Well, it's far for too significant for me to take that stance.
Okay, then I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I informed people about a terrible anime, and I entertained.
I'm just concerned that your reckless disregard will unduly dissuade people from watching an OVA that I actually do really enjoy.
And what would that?
The sequel to Munto.
Yes! Yes! Take it away then.
First, how did Munto get a sequel? So,
someone said, let's make a sequel.
yeah, basically, so, to show any personnel say, did you hear we made our money back on Munto already?
Was this before or after they invented the time machine you took to work today?
No, seriously. The numbers who came in from sales.
Well, I'm be.
Some of the guys and I were thinking there's a lot of background that we developed for Munto that didn't make it into the final cut. We think it's enough to support a sequel.
A sequel to Munto.
Alright, yes, the release had issues, but we can work around most of what we can't address. And there are people out there who want to know more, now that they've got that.
Alright. Do us proud.
Very well. Alright, so for those of you who weren't here for the last panel, in Munto, we were introduced to Yumemi Hidaka, who is unremarkable except for the fact that she can see islands floating in the sky. Now, these islands comprise the Heavenly Realms, which is a mysterious future world inhabited by strange beings where life is dependent on a form of energy called Akuto. Much in the same way that these islands don't really exist in our time, which is why we can't see them, the surface below them is no more than a lifeless and desolate wasteland to their inhabitants. But the worlds have become somehow synchronized, and indeed, if something were to fall, our world feels the impact as well. And this has been happening a lot lately. Ultimately, this is because the inhabitants of the Heavenly Realms are just as much jerks as humans are. Up until the end of the first OVA, the Akuto in the Heavenly Realms was dwindling, and the people, by and large, cooperated with each other to eke out their existence for as long as possible. But the Heavenly Realms were flooded with a huge amount of Akuto when Yumemi crossed what was referred to as the time-space barrier. With Munto, the monarch of the Heavenly Magical Kingdom. With the new influx of power, some of the rulers got to thinking, wow, this is more power than we've ever had access to. You know, I never did like the country next door. So we've got people like this guy, and this guy, and oh, it's not pretty. So, what's a world at war to do? Apparently, to get the Akuto to start cycling, which obviously involves going back and unlocking Yumemi's latent connection to this world for real this time. Now, Munto, who was working on this last time, is hesitant to return to the past, troubled by a vision of his own, wherein Yumemi's heart might shatter under the strain of being called to his world again. But familiar and sinister forces are also at work, and they understand enough of Yumemi's significance to be dangerous. Anyway, we get some magical action going on up here, which is pretty cool. We get some rapid-fire hints about the Heavenly Realms history and exactly what the Outsider is, which, frankly, could use some explanation. I mean, I enjoy when a little something is left to the imagination occasionally, as long as I've got something to go on. We also get to see some backstory from Munto, including the fate of the former rulers of the Magical Kingdom, his parents. The movie whips out as much exposition, which is lacking in the first one, as it thinks it can get away with. But there are some details in it that go by pretty fast. Like, Munto's backstory here is told via Yumemi's visions, because they sort of exchanged memories when they touched. And we get to see a little of the reverse of that when he gets a flash of her memories. Like this shot. This is a picture worth 1,000 words. A concerned parent trying to assure her daughter that there are no islands floating in the sky. That what Yumemi sees isn't real. And it goes by in about a second. It's just long enough for you to get a feel for that facet of Yumemi's life. Similarly, we see another second of her memory that sets up the relationship between her and her friends Suzume and Ichiko, which acts as the spiritual successor to a scene in the original where a group of boys call the young Yumemi a liar because they can't see what she said was there. And we can see from this that Ichiko has always been fiercely protective of Yumemi, going so far as to violently defend her honor when it is affronted. The movie speeds by another scene during the finale, which serves as fuel for speculation, while letting the audience know that they haven't forgotten about all what's going on in the Heavenly Realms, because about 40% of the way through, the movie makes its primary transition from the Heavenly Realm to Earth, where the real story happens. No, hang on. No. Suzume is present, and she's still Suzume. And Kazuya gets mentioned. But, he's off at prep school. No, the real star of the Munto sequel is Yumemi's other friend, Ichiko. And we can tell, just by comparing the DVD cover to the previous one, that this movie is going to be a little heavier. Actually, can we get the wraparound Region 2 cover? Ooh. Yeah. Now, what I consider to be the greatest accomplishment of Munto's sequel is that it takes Ichiko, who was little more than the straight woman to a child and a dreamer in the first one, and develops her into a tortured soul, doomed to look on as her best friend